Hey, what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records and another Monday with Miles Davis. Last week we discussed Water Babies and we chose out of the bucket Walking by Miles Davis. And it's a sextet on the first side and then a quintet on the second side. If you noticed at the end of my show last week, I did kind of confuse myself with the cooking, steaming, working, relaxing. This is not part of those prestige sessions, although this is a prestige record. So this is done. So Miles Davis is from St. Louis, East St. Louis, Missouri. He goes to Juilliard after high school as an 18-year-old. His father is a wealthy dentist in the East St. Louis area. And, you know, he goes to Juilliard to study, and the father has approved this, but really what he's doing is he's looking for Charlie Parker every night. And he's hooking up with Charlie. And even by 44 is playing with Charlie, and by 46 is recording. It really helps to find, you know, bebop along with some other people like Thelonious Monk and Dizzy Gillespie and Kenny Clark, who is on this record, the whole record. Miles goes to Europe in 49, goes to Paris, falls in love with Julianne Greco. When he gets back, he realizes that he's just being treated like another black person in America and really gets depressed, falls deeper into heroin. By 1953, he is not keeping up with gigs. He is not a reliable session guy. He does not have a band properly put together. At which point, his father gets him on a bus back to East St. Louis. They have a farm in Millstadt, Illinois, which is just a few miles from East St. Louis on the other side of the river from Missouri and St. Louis, where I live. And they have horses there. They have some pigs there, and he basically dries out there. Summer, August of 53, he does a little spin through LA with Mingus and famous drummer Max Roach. The Lighthouse sessions, there's some crazy stories. Miles is still taking heroin there. He comes back to St. Louis, cleans up, gets off of heroin. Instead of going directly back to New York, he goes to Detroit because he feels like that could be like a halfway house saving. He plays in Tommy Flanagan's band with Elvin Jones on drums. And finally, in the spring of 54, so 53, this is from the summer all the way up through the spring of 54, Miles is pretty inactive. This represents the second and third recording sessions that he did in 54, okay? Now you have Horace Silver on piano and Kenny Clark on drums. Kenny Clark, we've talked about, he's 12 years older than Miles. He kind of really was an innovator in the bebop scene. What is bebop? Bebop is, you know, coming out of the swing movement in jazz, fast changes, virtuoso playing, just lightning speed changes. Well, this kind of ushers in something called hard bop, and we're going to talk about that. Horace Silver is absolutely one of the pioneers of that. He would go on to put out this phenomenal album, Song for My Father, which I highly recommend. That song, you'll notice, is the dun 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 from Do It Again, or from Ricky Don't Lose That Number, excuse me, by Steely Dan. That's the main piano riff. But famous innovator here. What is hard bop? It's more based around the blues. It's more based around even gospel music. It's slower arrangements, giving more time for the soloist to express within, you know, maybe a blues sequence. And that's what we have on Walking here. We're going to talk about, this is recorded in 2 sessions, April 3rd. The first side of this record, which features tunes Walking in Blues and Boogie was on April 3rd, 1954. This wasn't released until June of 57. So this was held back. You know, again, Miles is refreshed. He's looking to bounce back in his career. Along with Miles and you have Percy Heath on bass. Of course, famously would go on with the Modern Jazz Quartet, and Kenny Clark on drums, Horace Silver, and then J.J. Johnson on trombone, and Lucky Thompson on tenor sax. This thing opens up with a standard Walking, which Miles would perform throughout his career. Obviously, Miles forgot his trumpet for the session, shows up, and the producer has a trumpet in his trunk. Jules Colomby borrows the guy's horn and keeps it. Incidentally, never gives it back. You know, again, this is an intro into hard bop. It's very satisfying. It's more of a 12-bar blues. You know, Miles is from a blues town. St. Louis is a big-time blues town, and you could hear that in here. You know, whereas, you know, Kansas City is maybe more of a jazz town or a swing town, and that's where Charlie Parker comes from. And Charlie Parker innovates into bebop. Miles the same way with blues here. You know, he's just full of restraint, full of regal playing. He's got the mute. Really defines the hard bop sound. JJ takes a long solo on trombone. You know, 13-minute song gives way for lots of soloing. After Silver takes a beautiful solo, Miles triumphantly brings the tune back. You know, I kind of hear a little bit of Herbie Hancock when I listen to Horace Silver. I don't know if you feel that, put a comment down below. By the way, check out these shows. Subscribe to my channel. We do shows every single day. On the next song, Blues and Boogie, more fiery playing here, tight rhythm section. Silver's just dancing all over the place. You know, he's a leader in his own right. You have two giants. We've talked about on earlier shows you know, the bringing together of Thelonious Monk and Miles Davis. Horace Silver is a master player and really a pioneer in this type of music. And it's been argued who's running these sessions. Miles comes back with a full mind and a full spirit. He's probably running, but I guarantee you Horace Silver is not being pushed around by Miles Davis in the sessions at all. Anyway, Blues and Boogie, it does boogie more. It's more of an upbeat song. It's one of the highlights of the album for me, really. Just beautiful interplay. Monstrous solo by Thompson. You know, these Thompsons coming out of, really, everybody's coming out of a Charlie Parker school of playing. And on the second side, we're really going to get more into that. So the second side still has Kenny Clark, Percy Heath on bass, and Horace Silver on piano, but insert David Schildkraut on alto sax. So no trombone and no Lucky Thompson. It's just a quintet with David Schildkraut, which, you know, not many have heard of, right? Comes from Stan Kenton's band. You know, he really doesn't have a long career. And anyway, Solar is a song that opens up. In parentheses, it says Sunny. This is a song by Chuck Wayne, but a lot of people say that Miles Davis wrote Solar. Miles has got the mute in. You know, it's just a jazz standard. Miles makes a lot of these songs standards. When he plays one of your songs, or in this case, he's playing his own song, his versions are the definitive versions that go on to have people copying him in the future. You know, blues sets up great for success on solos. Kenny Clark, again a bebop architect, is just setting the tone with that ride cymbal. You know, he's pioneered the ride cymbal holding instead of the hi-hat. He's pioneering this, which is perfected by Tony Williams and others. Just oozing with elegance. You could hear the martini shaking in the bar, you know, from the crowd. It's so good on Solar. And the next song is You Don't Know What Love Is. You know, another American songbook ballad. Again, Miles is making these ballads. This song is written by Don Ray and Gene DePaul. Miles has got the mute in. Another highlight of the record. You know, maybe historically speaking, the first side of this record is the most important because it really ushers in hard bop. Some of the best playing for me is on the second side, and that's because of David Schildkraut. And David Schildkraut, we'll look at the back of this. You can see the folks on here. Again, Schildkraut's not a name that you're going to hear a lot. I had never heard of him, to be honest with you. And then the last song is Love Me or Leave Me. It's a fast tempo. Schildkraut shines here, clearly in the Charlie Parker realm. I mean, people would mistake his playing for Parker all the time. I don't want to call him a clone, but you know what? When you have somebody that innovates an instrument like Parker did, people are going to copy that. People copied Miles, for that matter. Silver just rips on this. There's a point in the song here on the last song on the record where Miles is playing and then Kenny Clark's soloing and then Miles is playing and they're just trading off licks. It's so cool. I got goosebumps even talking about it. Fantastic track. Great way to end the record. Great way to say that Miles Davis is back. And Miles Davis is back from here. This is 54. You know, by 55, he's got his first great quintet put together. A couple notes that I thought was interesting. Horace Silver was in one of his albums in 1955 was called Horace Silver and the Jazz Messengers. Who is on drums? Art Blakey is on drums. They're co-leading the band, but right now it's called Horace Silver and the Jazz Messengers. Horace leaves in 56 and Art Blakey takes over control, and then the rest is history. That band goes from 56 all the way to 1990 with Art Blakey as the leader of that band. Also, I thought it was interesting that in 1954 at Newport, just a few months after this, the Modern Jazz Quartet plays at the first ever Newport, and John Lewis can't make it, so Horace Silver sits in with Milt Jackson, Percy Heath, on that great Modern Jazz Quartet. I don't know why I can't think of the drummer's name right now. It's irritating me. Anyway, we're going to pick an album for next week. This is very highly recommended. It's really historic in a lot of ways. Let's pick out next week's record, and where are we going to be for next week when we resume up with each other. Oh, and we got Sketches of Spain. Sketches of Spain next week to take us down a totally different road. 1959. It's going to be great. Gil Evans production, right? Anyway, check out my shows. Check out my channels. Listen to Miles Davis with me all through the week for Sketches of Spain. Next Monday, we will meet up and discuss about it. Peace out. See ya.